Good afternoon, everyone. My name's Matt Pepper. I'm Principal Sales Engineer from MicroStrategy. I have been at MicroStrategy for 5 years, and then I used MicroStrategy for 5 years before at 3, the telco. So I was one of you guys once, I promise. I also worked at Accenture, Unilever, Legal & General. So I'm either a veteran or I'm just old, as my kids call me. So I'm going to start, first of all, with a personal story, talking of my children. Very recently, my 7-year-old son, Thomas, has been diagnosed with autism. It's been a very interesting journey. He's incredibly bright, but socially and emotionally he's not so good at. And one of the things in particular that's been really bad is learning to play well with others. So I thought, being a good grown-up, I can teach him something about this game, because you can't win everything, can you? So I was going through this whole, he was X, and I was like, right, let's go through this process. And we got to this point, and he said, if I win this, can I have half an hour on my iPad? Technology being a big thing. And I went, yeah, sure. And he did this. Now, I wasn't sure how to take that one, but he won, damn it. So, why is this important? Because, and how am I going to tie it randomly to this? According to Gartner, sorry, I'll move out of the way. According to Gartner, analytics is hitting 30%. So that tiny little bit at the top, doesn't matter how hard you work, you've got a very, very small amount of people that are actually using your data, which is kind of soul-destroying when you think about it. MicroStrategy. This is what our focus is intelligence everywhere. That's not data absolutely everywhere, thrown all over the place, but actual intelligence, so I can make an informed decision whether I turn left, whether I turn right. This is I'll use typical visualization tool, but this could be Excel and any of the other data discovery tools. You start with a connection, you build a query, you build a data set, you then create some calculations, and then you build a visualization. And then this happens. And it's across all of these tools because I've used them and it hurts. Now, some people will argue whether this works or not, but actually, as we've just said, 70% of people are not using analytics properly. And much like I was trying to challenge my son Thomas, I'm challenging you to think differently. This is what happens. The governance is at the data set level. What MicroStrategy provides is something that's been renamed as an enterprise semantic graph, which is a bit of a mouthful, but what it means is it translates your data into business calculations and definitions, and that's your governed source. So a traditional old BI side. But what we can also do is allow business users to connect to that and start at that point and then build things going forwards. I was trying to do a live demo, but the Wi-Fi's killed me, so I've got some hastily fast-forwarded videos that you're going to just have to bear with me, so apologies. Not only that, a dashboard hits this top two. That's it. Because we work with a lot of big customers like Tesco and Vodafone, and there's a lot of dashboard fatigue. People don't want to be dashboard literate, don't want to learn a new tool. What they really want are answers. So a dashboard is great, and I thought the mobile revolution was going to change that, but actually it's just a dashboard on a mobile device. It's not changing the way we work. Our colleague at UBS said if Henry Ford asked for his customers what they wanted, it would have been faster horses. He said, basically every time I ask my customers, they want a faster dashboard, and that's just not going to cut it anymore. So I have loosely to groups. I don't think anyone actually needs, no one actually says I need governance, but governance is an important thing. And from a data perspective, you've got your data there, your different user groups, and then we bring this layer in. So you can actually bring these things in, from a data science perspective, from a dashboard delivery tool perspective, from an SDK. So the consumers, you can do whatever you want to do. Now, we would say we've got a fantastic dashboard tool and mobile delivery, but we're also, because we work with very, very large companies, we're also realizing everyone's got tools. Every department's got their own tool. And do you know what? That's okay. As long as you can say that the sale figure in this one is the same as this one over here, then the enterprise is going to get better. It's not about who's got the better dashboard or whose boss is bigger. And yes, I have had that conversation. So that's how I've brought them together. So the needing of governance. We have got something that monitors usage on every single thing that goes on, and it's called platform analytics. It means that you can actually see who's accessing it, what they're doing, what queries they're running, and doing it in a secure and governed way. So that's one side. That semantic graph also gives you the building blocks, so therefore you can actually build something and let the platform sort out the security, because you shouldn't have to when you're building a dashboard. It can also do things like, instead of a data set and then building another data set because someone's in a different region or different data, right in the middle there, you could have one data set that hides specific columns of data. So therefore, you don't have to have multiple duplicates of data sets all over the place. One data set, because of this semantic graph, can filter regions, but also, let's say, bonuses is one thing in particular. From a want to do more. This is the bit that I didn't realise was revolutionary when I was building this at 3. And it was nothing to do with me, by the way. It was the tool. You can connect the data. You can allow people to do that, but the sales team said, can we have forecast data? And I was like, well, where's that? He goes, this spreadsheet here. So what we did is we enabled them to import the data. As long as they knew what a join is, which they know Excel pretty well, they could join that together and then build a calculation on the fly. So they were responsible for that. IT never touched it, so they really enjoyed that. And I was responsible for the delivery of the actual figures from the system. So you can connect to it, join it, and in the background, you can then monitor who's accessing it. I used to do it because of licensing, but actually more and more people are doing things like Tesco's got a club card, a partner portal, and they actually monitor who's logging in, where, and what they're accessing. So you can utilize that stuff, and it's metadata on data. This is my hastily constructed video, so my apologies, I was going to do this live. I'm going to create a dossier, as we call it, a dashboard, and then I'm going to connect to the semantic graph and bring in some regional information. I'm going to have some opening, closing balances of a bank. So you've seen building dashboards before, yeah? I'm now going to just I've done some building the branch information, and I've sped it too fast, haven't I? I'm not this fast, really. Mapping the data, there we go. So I've brought in some snowflake data in the table, and I've mapped that information, so therefore it then understands that the users, the different types of capabilities, what data those people are allowed to look at. And then because of that join, and you can push this out, as we have done with many customers, down to different departments. So then you've still got your golden source, which you can enrich. And actually, with that feedback loop, you might find that data that's currently in Snowflake is actually available already. And I know that Santander are doing this a lot with their Cloudera platform, and we're sitting on top, and they're curating data sources. I'm now just linking Area Manager. So therefore, the areas, now I know that's where it's going to cascade to. The security, once again, is sorted. You can see all the different areas that were available from a developer's perspective. And then I'm just sending a little note that sticks with the dashboard, which is called collaboration. And then here's the data. You can filter it, and then it continues and looks into it. And so if I now log out, Go into my alter ego as Christine. My auntie's very pleased that she's become a part of my demo. And you can see you get a notification that you've been mentioned. That goes straight to the information you're looking at, and it also filters. So Christine has only got access to the Midlands, which is where she lives. Now that was an incredibly fast governed data discovery video, which I might have to slow down in certain sections, so apologies for it speeding through. That means you can build these things and still not lose the capabilities of your enterprise. It's not a standalone dashboard. Other people can use it, and if you want to and you find better data, you can replace that data set with the governed source. Now to the particularly difficult area that we used to struggle with, which is the data scientist or the dashboard fans, which said, look, can you just export the data, because we don't really want to use your tool. We've now got something which Rob Davis, one of my colleagues, was presenting earlier, about federated information. Because we've got open APIs, we allow you to connect to whatever tool you want, whether it's getting data in or getting data out of your enterprise. The security profile still stands, so you will only see the information you are allowed to see. So therefore, you're adding that extra layer to the dashboard tools. And the people who just want to code in R or using Jupyter or Alteryx is another one that I've used, you can actually do that and never touch MicroStrategy. It brings the data in, you can manipulate it, and then you can push the data out straight back into MicroStrategy for mass consumption. And this is something that I think we're very unique in, because we can do that, but also do it at scale to hundreds, if not thousands of users. For the coders, I don't normally show code, but I was told I have to put this in. That's the API to get the data in, to actually download the data, and also then to push it through. And that's pretty much it. You can then add whatever you want to do from an API perspective around that. But it is really easy. There's a GitHub page on this, and lots of people are contributing code on these things. My favorite one. So I said dashboard fatigue, and my colleague has likened it to a barista. So all of us here, I'm really not interested what bean you're going to get. You're not interested in where the data's sourced from. You really actually just want to get your coffee and get on with your job. And that's the key issue that we have nowadays. That's 70%, as you can see. There's one person frantically at the back, probably the machine's broken. That's the key issue we have, and this is how MicroStrategy has chosen to solve it. It's something called hyperintelligence, and it's going back to what key information do you need to look at. So when I walk into an airport or at a train station, there is one thing that I'm interested in, and that's what I am looking at, the plane I'm going to go or the train I'm going on. Imagine having all of that filtered directly for you, so you don't have to look into it, you don't have to drill into it, and you don't have to learn a new tool. So hyperintelligence works on the web, on Chrome at the moment, on Chromium, any Chromium-based browser. It's also in Outlook, which I think I'm going to show. And interesting, mobile is really, really interesting, but I'll show you some videos of those. Here's my incredibly safe inbox. And you can see it's searched on it. And I can see I've now got an email from Toby. And I've also got someone from Jerry. And I'm not sure which one I should be looking at. So based on that, Jerry has got a Salesforce link, so I can go straight into my incredibly safe demo of Salesforce as well. And it works across all those things, and it's linked, and it's contextual. So a lot of people say, I don't do dashboards. You don't have to. Or you just need to get that key piece of information just when you need it. MicroStrategy Hypermobile is a bit different. This enables and it links to your calendar. So when you're meeting someone, 15 minutes before you get that notification, you also get a calendar notification from Hyper, and then you can go in to look at that information right then. I use this quite a lot. It is linked to our Salesforce at MicroStrategy, and it's very, very good to know if I'm going to get a kicking because they've raised 5 P1 cases and I don't know what's going to happen. So have that information every 15 minutes before the meeting. That's very, very useful. And we're finding lots of use cases on this, either on the web, Outlook, or mobile. Once again, all that data that we've been talking to, that governed source, even if it's based on a spreadsheet, you can push all of that information in a secure and governed way straight into here. And I also had a play about with some HTML. Embedding information seems to be getting more and more popular now. So having your own website, embedding the information and making sure that you can only see as a login what you can see, and making it fully responsive. I really didn't have a clue what I was doing with HTML, and I managed to hack about and build this because the MicroStrategy bit is actually really, really easy. And you'll be pleased to know I'm not going to bother you anymore. There's food over there, the queues are massive, but if there are any questions, happy to answer them now. If you want to come and talk to me, thank you very much.